Hey friends. So today I'm actually really excited about this one. Today I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about, I call it a feature, I guess. S- but I think it's more than a feature, right? It's something, one of those items that are bigger. Sometimes I think of it like like a sub module, if you will. It's not quite a module, but it's big enough, right, that it's a significant piece of features and functionalities together. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about reward and recognition. And again, I'm trying to keep these videos short, right? So, hopefully you can go through them. But if not, I mean, there's always an opportunity, right, to have a conversation with whomever the consultants that are helping you out, whomever your partner happens to be. Um, but today, like I said, I want to talk about rewards and recognition. And this is all about the easy way to think about it is spot bonuses, right? But I think it's beyond that, right? It's really a mechanism in which you're helping encourage people, right, for any special company contributions, right? Or I've seen it more and more, or at least throughout my career, that after a special project, right, if there's any budget left, they might allocate it right to either key people or distribute it across the whole project team, or then in addition to that, things like years of service or any type of milestones, right? Birthdays, although I haven't seen that one, but I think it's good to think about it that way, right? But like key years of service, right? So you might get a bonus after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and so on. So anything that has to do with a milestone. So, anyways, the system SuccessFactors definitely has a solution for that. And today I wanted to spend, like I said, a few minutes showing you what this is all about. Okay, so there are two ways to go about this, the features and functionality here. Number one, I can either navigate to my employee file or profile or however you're calling it. And then from here, navigate to someone, right? So let me just type a John here. Okay, let's use John Kim here. By the way, just like anything else in SuccessFactors, everything is role-based permissions, which means that number one, who gets to access this feature? You get to decide who does it. And then number two, a few other things. Who do you get to do it over it? Again, RBP, but then also things like budgets for the ones that are monetary awards and non-monetary. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But from here again, assuming that you do have authorization to do so, you can take action here, right? Just like let's say you're a manager and you wanted to give some sort of recognition to one of your team members, consistent experience as if you were to promote them or change jobs or look at their profile or do whatever, right? You navigate always to their profile, and then from here you can take action. But you will see an option here called reward and recognition. So if I were to click on it, it will take me to a screen that looks like this. Now notice that I navigated um, and navigate it through the profile, right? The other way to go about it, by the way, this link typically gets associated with compensation too. Now you might be wondering, well, Pablo, what if I don't have compensation or the compensation module this is, right? You would still see the option here, though the only option that you will see within compensation would be this reward and recognition. So in other words, you do not have to have the compensation module to be able to take advantage of this functionality. Okay. All right. Having said that, let's talk about a couple of key points here. So this is beyond money. Okay. In other words, there are two type of rewards that you can give, if you will, leveraging this functionality. So number one, what I call spot bonuses, right, or non-recurring monetary rewards, right? A bonus, a spot bonus. Okay, that's what it is, right? And then of course, you can name it something, and then you'll see here through the flow how it looks like. But then the other thing too, you can still leverage this functionality without having to provide some like a monetary incentive. Now let's put this in perspective. Imagine you wanted to have peers recognizing each other's, for example. You could leverage this functionality. And so let's say at a lower level, let's say interns, right, can recognize each other after each program. They can still use this functionality to send a message, right, and attribute some sort of recognition towards something that the whomever we're recognizing would have done, without having any budget for them, right, to give a monetary incentive. Versus, as you move up the hierarchy, you might have more budget, right? Like if you're a people manager, you get a budget. If you're not, you don't, right? But you can still use the functionality to give non-monetary awards. And so definitely a functionality that is available. And then the third one, it's really milestones, right? Which can be both, monetary and non-monetary. And so you get to decide as part of the implementation of this, how do you want to recognize your team. Anyways, let's go through a bit of a demo here real quick. And then I guess the other thing, I guess this is another concept too. Like, so we talked about monetary and non-monetary and kind of the type of recognitions, but in addition to that, you can have point base, I guess. I don't know how what's the official term from SAP, but I would say points, right? So you can set up these programs, right, to quote unquote collect points, and then you might have some sort of integration, right, with another vendor that might give you some sort of additional incentive. So for example, if you collect 100 points, you might have some sort of integration, right, with some sort of benefit provider, right, that might give you a gift card, right, or things of that nature, right? So again, currency, acknowledgement, and then point base, right? Again, if you decide to learn more about it, talk to whomever is helping you implement the system or supporting you. Okay, let's get down to the demo. And I'm gonna start over. Well, not really. So, actually, so just to take a step back here. So I went to my profile. So let's imagine I'm a manager or a leader. I went to my profile, I found someone, and then I took action. I could have navigated the same way through just navigating to compensation, but beside the point. And so I'll see the name of the person. Now, could I select more people? I could, but I'm going to focus on one person, which is typically how the workflow will go. And then from here, I get to decide what type of incentive do I want to give. Oh, actually, interestingly enough, I have one set up for each one of them. So points based, non-monetary, monetary, and then I guess another type of monetary reward, right? Here in this case is peer appreciation and upskilling. By the way, how does the system know what to present here? Completely up to you, right? This will be part of the implementation, part of the decisions that you'll have to make if you decide to implement this. So let's say this is a monetary, upskilling. Let's say you are in consulting and you just got your PMP or some sort of important certification, and because of that, you get to be recognized with some sort of monetary incentive. So I want to go ahead and simply click on it. And then notice that the system takes you through a bit of a workflow, right, or a wizard. So, okay, step number 1, select your award, blah, blah, blah. Step number 2, what's the value that we're associating this with, right? This aka your core competencies as an organization. By the way, some of these steps you might or might not have them, right? Again, these are decisions that you'll have to make while you are going through the implementation. But let's say it's because I guess business driver, because it was a certification. And then again, super easy. I just go through the workflow. What type of the award level? Again, you can set up different levels with different attributes that you might be able to associate this reward um, towards something. So I'll say it's this is game changer, right? Getting that certification is game changer. And then automatically it takes me to step number 4. And then here I get to decide what's the incentive that I have. Okay. Notice that there will be some suggested amounts in the way of a pick list, or I can select a custom one. Now, you might be wondering, well, Pablo, what about budgets, right? That's absolutely right. You always have budgets here, and you want to select budgets by individual and or by group of people or level of people, etc. I think that it's that's part of another video that I'm planning to do. But in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and select um, an amount that is already it's kind of suggested, so 5 grand. And then the last step in this case, some sort of message for the individual. Here's the reality. The last thing I'll say about this: how much flexibility you have to change these steps? A lot. Okay. You might or might not have certain steps here. Number one. And then number two, again, within each one of these steps, you get to decide what is within it. And again, this is a component of permissions too, right? So, for example, the type of incentive here that you are providing, you get to decide that, number one. Number two, values, whether you want the section or not, that's one decision. And then number two, which values do you see here? Obviously, those are going to be completely independent or associated to your own organization. And then number three, again, the award level. You get to decide that. By the way, this always, just like everywhere else in SuccessFactors, is information icons that will tell you a little bit more about it. So you definitely get to do some descriptions towards it. And then the award, right? In this case, it was a monetary incentive, which means that there was a currency figure there, right? You absolutely don't have to have that, right? Like we talk about, there are 3 types of rewards, right? So currency, acknowledgement, and point-based. So depending on the type of it, the workflow might look differently, as well as the sections, right? And then lastly, the message too, right? So in this case, I want to go ahead and send it. And so what would happen at this point? John will receive an email, most likely, assuming that we want that, letting him know. And I say John because that's the user we selected here to provide him a reward. He'll get a notification saying that he just got an award, and then he can check it out. And then, of course, from this point on, you'll have to set up some sort of integration, right, with your payroll system for the payout to actually happen, so on and so forth. Okay, here's the last thing. Shout out to EY. I worked there for a couple of years, actually more like 4 years, which I find it to be significant. So the best time in my career, I feel like I became a professional truly while working there, and it was one of the they did a lot of this work, right? And actually, I had the opportunity to do as well as receive quite a bit of these guys, again, spot bonuses, if you will. And it does make a difference, right? Now, again, this is something that you might already be paying licenses for that you might not know. I would even consider the implementation of it to be relatively short. So absolutely something that I would recommend to, at a minimum, checking it out more, because I think it could be one of. I guess here's what I'm trying to say. I think there's always an opportunity cost for these things, and I think a lot of organizations, especially the big ones, already have some sort of system that does something similar, if not the same thing, might as well leverage SuccessFactors in which you're already paying licenses. Most likely, number two, a lot of depending on the level of utilization and adoption, you might already have lots of excuses to navigate to the same system often. Definitely a feature, functionality, submodule, however you want to call it, right? That I'll recommend check it out. So, anyways, the video is getting longer than I thought, but it's one of my favorite functionalities in the system. I have three. This is one of them.